Hey there, fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're heading to the Windy City. From deep dish pizza and tavern style pizza and Chicago style hot dogs to the do's and don'ts of navigating the city, cultural shocks, must-see insights, and essential travel tips, we got you covered. So bundle up and get ready for 100-ish hours of Chicago. First thing you need to realize, the first thing that really set off someone from Chicago is if you call the Sears Tower Willis Tower. Now, it's spelled W-I-L-L-I-S Tower, but you pronounce it Sears Tower. It always has been and always will be the Sears Tower. So if you say Willis Tower, ain't nobody gonna like you, okay? Second thing you're gonna do that will really piss off people from Chicago is say that the 85 Bears are not the greatest football team ever with the fridge and sweetness, the Super Bowl shuffle. Look, they were amazing. And anytime you get into a conversation about football, people from Chicago will always bring up the 85 Bears as the best football team ever. Now, another thing that will really piss off people from Chicago is if some dude from Naperville tells people, oh yeah, I'm from Chicago. Look, the suburbanites, they're not from Chicago. They're from the burbs, okay? And that will get the locals, that will set them off very quickly. So if you're from the suburbs, make sure you let them know what suburb you're from, because Tinley Park is not Chicago. So another thing that you'll do that will piss off the locals is either drive slow or near the speed limit, or walk slow and block the walkway. Look, here in Chicago, it's go, 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 go. You will see people going 4 lanes across on the highway. You'll see people going double wide around to pass people on a normal street. You'll see people telling you to move out of the way. So please, if you're enjoying the beautiful skylines here and the architecture, make sure you try to stay 2 and stay on your side, and definitely don't stop in the middle of the sidewalk to take a picture, because the locals, they'll be instantly upset with you. Now, another thing dealing with cars when you are here is the parking. And if you want to upset a local when it's winter time and they get a ton of snow and they dig out their cars so they have a parking spot, you want to piss off a local, you take that spot they spent hours digging out and disregard the chair they left there, the post they left there, the cone they left there, because that's their spot. And people will get up in your grill if you steal that. Now, another way you can upset somebody from Chicago is putting ketchup on a Chicago hot dog. Now, it's okay to put ketchup on a hot dog, but when you have a Chicago dog, it's a very specific balance of flavors that make them so wonderful, and by putting ketchup on there, you ruin it. So don't you dare put ketchup on a Chicago dog. A normal hot dog is fine, but not the original, okay? And then there's the way that's really, really gonna upset people no matter what you do, and that is one thing: diss the pizza here in Chicago. Chicago style deep dish pizza is fantastic. And sometimes people like to say, oh, it's a cake, it's not a real pizza. Oh, it is. And the people here love it. But the thing is, even if you love it and you don't diss it, you'll still piss people off, because you'll say, oh, Pequot's is actually my favorite. No, other people say, no, Lou Malnati's is the best. Other people say Gino's is the best. Gino's East is the best. No, it doesn't matter. No matter who you pick as your favorite, people are gonna be upset when it comes to Chicago pizza. So just grab some and enjoy Chicago. First don't I have for you, and probably the most important don't I have for you when you come to Chicago, is don't drive and don't deal with the parking. Look, Chicago traffic is horrible all year round, all day long, all the time. Whether you're heading out to O'Hare or the airport, driving here downtown, taking the interstate around the city, driving is just chaotic here. And the thing is, the people are very aggressive drivers too, so it could be a little hair-raising, white-knuckly when you are driving here in Chicago. So just have a heads up for that. So if you can, just don't drive when you're here. And also, going along with that, don't deal with the parking. Oh my gosh. Parking downtown Chicago is insane expensive. Somewhere between college tuition and a mortgage payment. I think that's where parking is here in Chicago. So what I recommend is come in with the train, fly in, use public transport, whatever. Try not to drive when you are here. Now the thing is, if you are driving to Chicago and you gotta park and stuff like that, get the parking at your hotel and just leave it. Use public transport, use Uber, use whatever. You can walk around the city easily, because you don't want to have to get out, try to drive, find another place to park, pay another insane expensive parking rate when you're there. Just don't do that, okay? And that kind of leads into our second don't, is don't worry about not driving, because the CTA, the Chicago Transit Authority, actually has really good public transportation here in Chicago. I mean, this is what public transportation should be in the US. They've got the elevated train going around that'll take you all over the place. The bus system here, awesome. And the thing is, it goes to pretty much every tourist place you want to go as a tourist. you can go there on public transportation. And what's cool is actually the price for the public transportation here in Chicago is actually a fair price too. So it's really cool. So make sure you do use that public transportation when you are here. Now, my next tone for you here in Chicago is don't worry about being bored. This city is chock full of world-class museums, festivals, concerts, all kinds of awesome stuff to do. You've got the Art Institute of Chicago, one of the best art museums in the world. You got the Shedd Aquarium, one of the top aquariums in the world. You got the Field Museum, one of the best natural history museums in the world. You got the Museum of Science and Industry, one of the best science museums in the world. You see where I'm going here? The planetarium, there's all kinds of great stuff here. Broadcast Museum, you got all kinds of great museums here. You don't like museums? That's fine. Hit the theater here, pay a fraction of the price you pay in New York, and see fantastic shows at the theaters here in Chicago and around. Oh, you want to do stuff with your kids? Great, you got Great America, you can go to the amusement parks that are here. There's all kinds of amazing things to do here in Chicago, so you're never really bored when you're here because there's always something else to do. What else do we need to do? What's next? What's next? What's next? And if you come here in the summertime, I know I'm not here in the summertime right now, but if you come in the summer, there's all kinds of great festivals going on when you're here. My personal favorite is the Taste of Chicago, which is right behind the camera here. You go there and try different foods from different restaurants throughout the city. Oh my God, it is a fantastic experience. So you always got something to do. Whether you want to watch sports, yeah, you can watch the Bulls play, you can watch the Bears, the Cubs, the White Sox, you can see them, the Fire. I mean, there's so many sports to do, watch, see, things to do, bike riding, all kinds of stuff here. Believe me, you will never be bored when you're here in Chicago. Oh yeah, there's also great nightlife, Rush Street or go party in Wrigleyville. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff to do when you're here, so don't worry about being bored, okay? And the thing is, a lot of people don't realize is when you're a tourist, a lot of times you stay downtown or in the Loop. I'm going to go to the Magnificent Mile, then I'll stay in the Loop, I'll stay down in this area here. What you don't realize is don't just stay in the Loop in the downtown area, go out and explore. There's really cool suburbs to go check out. Go to the North Shore, go see Evanston, go head out and go to Gurney, yes, and go to Great America, stuff like that. The Lincoln Park Zoo, go out to Greektown. There's all kinds of things you can see and do in the Chicago area that's not just in the Loop, because as a tourist, most of the time we're kind of down here in the Loop, in the downtown area kind of stuff, and maybe a little bit north of there on Michigan Avenue, and we don't get out there and see things. So make sure you go out and explore, and that public transportation will take you out there, okay? You can grab a metro train to hit some of the suburbs as well, so that is really kind of a cool thing. Another don't, I guess I should say, is if you're going to be staying downtown, which you probably will, don't expect a lot going on after 6 or 7 o'clock at night downtown, because this is more of a work area, so people go home. So it's like a ghost town at night here and on the weekends, so do have a heads up for that. Keep your eyes open a little bit more in the evening time here, because honestly, you're down here, one, maybe to go to a show at one of the theaters, maybe go out to eat, but there's not a lot of things going on here. Also, the shops here downtown actually close earlier than the malls in the suburbs and stuff like that, so just have a heads up for that. So kind of going on with that ghost town kind of feeling is sometimes you think ghost town, oh, should I be worried? Well, that kind of leads into another don't I have for here in Chicago. Don't be lackadaisical with your safety here. Probably the most dangerous thing for a tourist, though, is when you cross the street, because the drivers are a little nuts here and they're quite aggressive. So do have a heads up when you're crossing the street. Don't just stand at the end or stand in the street when you're getting ready to go. Make sure you're paying attention. That's one thing. Another thing, if you feel uncomfortable in any part, you don't feel right, go hop into a store or hop into a restaurant. It's okay, call a cab, call an Uber and head out. I mean, there are some parts of Chicago you don't want to go to. I'm sure in the comment section you'll hear a lot of things down there, but what I'd recommend is ask your hotel, hey, we're looking to go here. Is it okay? Is that okay? Just ask them, and that's one thing you see anywhere in the world. There's good parts of town, there's bad parts of town, so do have a heads up for that, and do ask where you should go or shouldn't go, because the city is fantastic, but there are issues you got to think about. Always keep your eye out. I mean, some of the things might just annoy you. It's not really a safety thing. You'll have guys, hey, can I have $1? Can I have $1? Man, all you got to say, either give them $1 or say, I'm sorry, man, or just walk by. They won't give you really any trouble there, but do be smart when you are here in Chicago, because there are parts of towns you shouldn't go to, and if you're not sure, I would ask your concierge, hey, this is where we're going to go today. What do you think? Is that okay there? And they'll let you know. And I would really just say is use your usual travel sense. If you're coming down here and where a lot of tourists are, yeah, keep your wallet in your front pocket and stuff like that. But overall, I haven't had really any problems in Chicago, but I know there are problems, so do have a a heads up, but honestly, the biggest safety thing for you as a tourist is crossing that street, okay? Now, another kind of safety thing I have for you is, notice that sign behind me says caution ice. Look, don't mess around with the falling snow and falling ice if you come here in the winter. It can be dangerous. You see the building up there with that slant? Yeah, the ice packs up, the snow packs up, it falls. It can be dangerous, so don't mess around with those. I know some tourists are like, oh, that's a cool picture, I want to get that. Do have a heads up with those. And I guess another don't, I'll kind of go along with that, is don't think you shouldn't visit Chicago in the winter. I'm here in the winter, and the thing is, the people in Chicago know that it's very cold and windy and snowy. It can be here in the wintertime in Chicago, and they have prepared the city for you. That means the museums, all the fantastic museums, the restaurants, all this stuff, you can have a great time inside when you're here. So don't be scared for coming here in the winter months. Now, I'm not going to say it's the best time to come, because you come here in January with the wind and you're walking like this, maybe you're not going to have as good of a time as you came here in the spring or the summer, when you can hit the beaches and stuff like that and go out on Lake Michigan and do an architectural boat tour and things like that. It's better to come in the summer and spring, but don't think you can't come in the winter time, okay? And speaking of some tourist stuff, don't forget to do one of those architectural boat tours when you're here. Look, this is kind of the home of the skyscraper, and you have amazing architecture throughout the city. I mean, I would say don't forget to stretch your neck out before you come to Chicago, because you're going to be looking up and seeing all these really cool skyscrapers and all these really cool buildings. You know, the Tribune Tower, the Wrigley Building, yes, the Sears Tower or Willis Tower, however you spell it. There's all kinds of, the Hancock Building going around. Oh my gosh, there's so many fantastic buildings to take in and architecture to come in. And if you take that architectural boat tour on the Chicago River, it's really cool because they give you the history and the explanations of the buildings and the styles, and it really brings a lot more out. So when you walk around the city, you really get a lot more bang for your buck when you look at these fantastic buildings. Now, you notice I had a little problem saying Sears, Willis, Willis, Sears Tower. Look, my next don't for you is, don't call it Willis Tower with the locals. Look, it's always going to be the Sears Tower. Now, if you might not know this, it's actually spelled W-I-L-L-I-S Tower, but you pronounce it Sears Tower, okay? Just so you know. Now, okay, I mean, it's one of those things. It's changed names, okay? And the thing is, Sears Tower or Willis Tower was at one time the tallest building in the world, and they actually have an observation deck at the top you can go see. It's probably one of the most popular pictures, aside from the bean, that I see from people when they go to Chicago. But I'm going to tell you something, for going to the Willis/Sears Tower, don't feel that you have to pay to go up and get a great view of the city, and that's the only place to get it. What I recommend, go to the Hancock Building. 96th floor, there's a bar there. It's free to go up, and you have free views of this beautiful city. But also what's cool is the drinks up there are actually pretty fairly priced, so why not head to the Hancock, go up the 96th floor, hit the bar there, have a great drink while you look at this great city. That's a much better way to spend your money that you'd spend going up to the top of the Sears/Willis Tower. Spend that on a drink in the Hancock Building. That's what I would recommend. Now, some other tourist things you should know about. One thing is, if you're going to go to Navy Pier, which is very much a tourist place, realize, don't expect to see locals at Navy Pier. Navy Pier is, I mean, it's really developed for tourists, and it's nice for tourists to go to. I go there because I'm a tourist. I'm not from Chicago. I enjoy that. But the locals will tell you, oh, that's a tourist thing, so don't expect to see the locals there. Another thing I guess I should say about the locals, don't expect to hear that Chicago accent. You know, you saw on TV back in the day, Alex Sassage in Chicago, the Bears, the Bulls. People don't talk like that here anymore, okay? Yes, you'll find a few people that do occasionally, but in general, the Chicago accent sadly has kind of died off, so you're not going to hear that when you're here. Another don't with the people here, don't trust everyone that tells you they're from Chicago, because most likely they're from the suburbs. Actually, Chicago, the city proper, is actually relatively small, and most of the people in the Chicago metropolitan area live out in the suburbs. So that person you meet that says, oh yeah, I'm from Chicago, they might be from Evanston, or they might be from Naperville, or Arlington Heights, or Tinley Park, or wherever. And the thing is, if you have people that are from real Chicago, like they're born here in Chicago, they grew up in Chicago, Chicago, they will call out those people every single day. Oh, really? What's true of you? Where'd you grow up? Which school did you go to? Oh, you mean you're from Naperville? Oh, right. So you're not really from Chicago, you're from the burbs, okay? So that's sort of a little fun thing you'll see with the locals here. Now, another thing tourists love to do when they travel is eat, and Chicago is no exception to those eating cities. And my don't for that is, don't come to Chicago on a diet. They love huge portion sizes. They love their food. They love their meat. They love their everything here. And you're going to eat a lot when you're here. I mean, the deep dish pizza here, the Chicago style deep dish pizza, yeah, it's like this thick, and you will just be, so full. And the thing is, there's so many great restaurants here. It's not just the deep dish pizza and the Chicago hot dog. No, there's so much more here. Go to Greektown, have amazing Greek food. Little Italy, there's great Mexican food here. Have some great Polish food, German food. There's so many different nationalities and ethnicities here in Chicago, and they've brought their food here. So you have amazing food when you're here. So don't come on a diet, just go and enjoy everything, all right? Now, I do have a couple don'ts for some traditional Chicago things. One, if you get the deep dish pizza here in Chicago, don't think you can finish the pizza yourself. I know a lot of people go, I get a pan pizza from Pizza Hut, I get a medium and finish it myself. Oh, no. That's like their tiny baby, little tiny brother versus the Chicago style deep dish pizza. This stuff, I'm talking like I can barely finish 2 slices. That's how thick and big it is, with all the meat and cheese and then the sauce on top and the really thick crust. I mean, it will really fill you up. I had some last night and I was smart. I got the individual size. The guy next to me, who was a tourist from England, he's like, I'll get a small. That's what I get at Pizza Hut at home. I'm like, dude, get the individual. He's like, no, I'll get it. And he sat there, he got through 2 and maybe a half pieces and didn't eat the end of them. And he's like, I can't eat anymore. I'm like, I told you. And so do have a heads up for that. Also, don't be surprised if it takes them about 45 minutes to cook that deep dish pizza, because it takes a while to be there. Also, don't let them talk you into getting appetizers. It's going to be enough food anyway when you get the pizza, okay? So instead of ordering food appetizers, just drink some of the good Chicago beer when you're here. Revolution Brewery, Two Brothers Brewery. Maybe get some Goose Island when you're here. I mean, a 312 is always good with pizza, so do have that. Another don't with the food, if you get that Chicago dog, people always say, well, don't put ketchup on your Chicago dog. It's true. It's got so much other stuff on there, it doesn't need it. I mean, it's got pickles and relish and tomatoes and mustard and like sweet jalapenos, like kind of things on top. It's so good, and it's got so many other flavors that it mixed perfectly together that you don't need the ketchup, so don't worry about that. One of the great things about Chicago is actually it has something for everybody, whether you like culture, whether you like food, whether you like sports, whether you like art. There's all kinds of stuff for everybody. So what I want to say is don't forget to bring the whole family when you come here to Chicago, because they have stuff for everybody. Yes, you can do the amusement parks like Great American, stuff like that, or you can do the Art Institute or the Museum of Science and Industry. My kids love it. Every time we go there, we spend an entire day there. And that's what's so cool about Chicago. The people are friendly. They're cool with the kids being here. There's stuff for them all the time, so don't think this is just a romantic getaway place. This is actually a really cool place for the whole family to come to, okay? And speaking of places you should go with a family, or maybe not with a family, it's up to you. Go into a game at Wrigley, and I would say, don't think baseball's too boring to go to a game at Wrigley Field. For those of you who don't know, baseball is a very popular sport here in the US, but a lot of people that don't know it think it's pretty boring. And actually, people that actually know baseball think it's kind of boring sometimes. But the thing is, going to a game at Wrigley to see the Chicago Cubs is like the quintessential, I know it's my favorite word in these videos, quintessential Chicago sports visit, okay? The whole area, it's called Wrigleyville. There's tons of bars, restaurants, all kinds of stuff. It's like, it should be called Partyville, because before the game, during the game, and after the games, they have party time, okay? And you're drinking your beers and having your fun and going to watch the Cubs play. And what's cool as a tourist, the Cubs play during the day a lot of times. In the summer, they have 81 home games, okay? Most of them are during the day. So you can see some sights during the day, then the afternoon, go head out to a game, take it in. Sitting in the bleachers is the must, but don't think that there's assigned seats in the bleachers. You just kind of go where you want to go. Yes, you buy overpriced beer, but it's such a great experience to go to the game that really don't pass it up if you have a chance here in Chicago, okay? Another don't I have for you has to do with the airport. Look, there's O'Hare and there's Midway here. O'Hare's probably the airport you're probably going to fly into or out of. And my don't for you is don't mess with O'Hare. Look, if you've got a flight out and they say be there 2 hours early, be there 2 hours early, okay? They say be there 3 hours early, be there 3 hours early. Because O'Hare is infamous for sometimes long check-in lines, long security checkpoints, stuff like that, and it can take a long time. And I know a lot of people that have missed flights because they didn't get through security fast enough, so don't mess around with O'Hare. And if you're flying in internationally and you're transferring through Chicago, you'll fly into Terminal 5 and then you got to take the train to one of the other terminals. The thing is, when you do that, you go out and the train is outside security, so you have to go on that and then go back through security again to get back in the other terminal. So do have a heads up for that. It will take you some time, so don't mess around with O'Hare, okay? A couple more don'ts for you. When you are going around Chicago, don't expect to find a lot of public toilets. You'll see a lot of restaurants and places will say no free public toilet or something like that. So you might need to grab a drink or something to use their bathrooms. Another don't I have for you, if you're going to take the metro out to the suburbs, don't forget to pick up your ticket at the ticket station before you get on the metro, because you can buy the tickets on the metro, but they do charge you like $5 more. So if you're going to go out there, save the $5, don't forget to pick up the ticket before you get on. So just a couple other ones I want to put in. We'll go back to the Pretty Bean for some more stuff. And my last don't for you here in Chicago is don't pass up the second city. Look, Chicago should be the first city you want to visit when you come to the US because of the culture, because of the sports, because of the festivals, because of the awesome people. You will love Chicago, the Midwest feel here, the friendly people, the fun stuff to do. It really is a fantastic city to visit. That's why when you talk to people that come to the US, you'll see an inordinate amount of people say, I really love Chicago because this city rocks, okay?
So first and foremost, I think you're going to agree with me on this. You cannot talk about food in Chicago without talking about Chicago-style pizza.
Or deep dish pizza, same thing.
Well, do you think so? Because I feel like Chicago-style pizza is not just deep dish pizza because they make everything backward, right?
Pretty much. So it's like kind of created in a pie tin, and then all the toppings are put onto the pie in a reverse order.
So like cheese first.
Yep. Then the toppings.
And then the tomatoes on top. And then sometimes different places put like Parmesan cheese maybe sprinkled over that, right?
Exactly.
What is your favorite place? Because there's a bunch of them. What's your favorite?
So my favorite is Pequod's, but that's more of a local spot. If you are down in River North, where a lot of tourists stay when they come visit Chicago, you're going to encounter Lil Manati's, Gino's East, Giordano's, Uno's. There's a ton of choices.
Yep, and they're all going to be pretty good, but mind you that one piece is like eating like, I don't know, half of a normal pizza, so...
Seriously,
it's super heavy.
So much.
Also, something you should know about Chicago-style pizza is that, yes, because it is this massive deep dish pie, you're going to have to wait 45 minutes to an hour when you order. So you can sometimes call ahead, and that's not a bad idea, especially if you're traveling with kids and, you know, hungry kids can't wait, right?
Yeah.
So that's always a good idea.
So be sure to budget into your schedule the time you need in order to get to that pizza. So it's like you might wait an hour once you sit down for the pizza to come, and you also might wait an hour in line.
And it's worth it. You just need to plan ahead.
Yeah. The second thing to try when you're here is the Chicago style hot dog. And the most important thing to know about that, first and foremost, is there's no ketchup on it. What else is on there though?
There's all sorts of good stuff on there. You're going to have like sweet relish, you know, that really bright green sweet relish. There's a pickle. And that is not a sweet pickle. It's like, you know, like a kosher kind of dill pickle sort of thing. There's mustard. There's hot peppers and stuff on there. But it's like this big amalgamation of good stuff. And ketchup would just totally throw that off. So if you want ketchup on your dog, get a plain dog. Do not get a Chicago dog and put ketchup on it, because you're going to get side-eye.
Exactly.
At the very least.
And the place to maybe try a Chicago hot dog, one of the popular spots is Portillo's, and they also have the next item on our list at that restaurant, and that is the Italian beef sandwich. It's basically like a sandwich with just ton of beef. Yeah.
But they do dip them, like sometimes you get them double dipped, like the whole thing. So like the bread and all gets dipped in au jus, and it's like, it's messy as all get out. But it's so good and obviously quite juicy.
Super good for lunch.
Yes.
The next food we're going to talk about is basically not just food. It's that you can get a ton of different ethnic foods all over the city. There's certain neighborhoods too that are just really well known for their food cultures. There's Greektown, Chinatown. There's the Pilsen neighborhood has really good Mexican food. And we're standing in a neighborhood right now even that you can get restaurants from all different countries.
Lots of variations. And because so many different people came and settled in certain areas, you can get like not just the food, but you get a good taste of culture from different places around the world.
Yes.
So one of my favorite things in Chicago is Garrett's Popcorn, and they have all different kinds of flavored popcorns and things like that, but my favorite is the Chicago mix, and it's caramel and cheese together. And I mean, it's not like on the same piece of popcorn, but half of the bag is caramel and half the bag is cheese. And it's that salty and sweet, and oh God, I just love it.
It's
so
gourmet popcorn.
It is gourmet
So
popcorn.
good.
There's also Nuts on Clark, which has kind of become their
Competitor?
It's new, yeah. So like Garrett's has been around since what, like the 40s,
Yes.
right? It's
and
been
then
around
Nuts
forever.
on Clark maybe has been around for 30 years now too, or so.
So I guess they've got their own part of the pie right there. But anyway, so Chicago popcorn is a really good thing. So another sweet thing are Frango Mints.
Yes. So I grew up with Frango Mints growing up here in Chicago, and it's associated with the old Marshall Fields department stores that used to be here that then got bought by Macy's, and now actually the Frango Mints brand was bought by Garrett's Popcorn.
Yes, so you can get it at Garrett's.
So there's
which is
these
great.
little minty chocolate cubes that come in a box that is dark green in color with the logo, and so it's like a nice high-end chocolate that you can get for like holidays and gifts, and also just for yourself. Give them a try. They're delicious.
I feel like that's a thing for all people who grew up in Illinois or spent any time in this area. Frango Mints are just a thing. So while we're talking about sweet things, there's actually a big donut culture in Chicago for whatever reason. I don't know. But there are a lot of really great donut places.
There's a donut shop at every corner. That's an exaggeration, but it's really...
Also, you know, there's a bar on every corner. And
Yes.
that might not be an exaggeration, especially when you get into neighborhoods and stuff. You find these great, like, little local places. And when you're at those places, you want to get some Goose Island beer because that's a local brew.
Yep.
Yep.
It's named after the island in the middle of the Chicago River called Goose Island. And so it's definitely one of the like authentic Chicago beers around here. But there's a huge craft beer culture that's coming up and up as well. And even a cider culture. So there's a cider brewery that you can go and visit in the Logan Square neighborhood too.
And the cool thing about Goose Island is it's not just available here. So if you are out traveling around and you just want a little taste of Chicago, you can get yourself some Goose Island. I've even seen it like in Europe and stuff.
I've seen it in Beijing.
Did you
Yes,
really?
yes.
I did not see it in Beijing. That would be cool.
Exactly. And another thing, if you're out for a drink in Chicago, this is kind of my word of warning for everybody. So there's something called Malort. It's this terrible, in my opinion, tasting alcohol. Most people hate it, but for some reason it's become this like cult favorite of Chicagoans, and people still drink it, but it's also a joke to kind of play on tourists. So
Be aware.
Yeah, you might want to check out to see if you're making friends with people in a bar and then they offer to buy you a shot of Malort.
They're not really your friends.
Yeah, they might be just wanting to see your like scrunched up face that you make when you take the
Just
shot.
a good fun joke to play on people, but it tastes like kind of anise-like, right? It's like black licorice.
I mean, it's bitter. It is bitter.
So there's your thing to avoid when you're doing the eats of Chicago.
I think one of the tourist traps you need to know about, but it's one you might still want to go to, is the sky deck at Willis Tower, or as we real people call it, at Sears Tower. Look, it's not free to go up. You have a fantastic view of the city, and if you're one of those people that likes to like walk out on the edge on the glass, great. But if you're just going up to the sky deck for the view of the city, there are so many great places to get views around Chicago, whether you're going up the old John Hancock building or you're just taking a view in from the lake or one of the great rooftop bars. You can get great views all around the city without paying an arm and a leg because it's not super cheap to go. So that's one tourist trap that I think you should know about, but you still might want to go because, yes, the views still are pretty spectacular, okay? Now, another kind of tourist trap, or not necessarily scam, but something you as a tourist should think about when you're coming to Chicago is if you're going to stay, and you're going to stay downtown, you're going to stay in the loop, it's more the, I'd like to call it the downtown doldrums at night. Because downtown Chicago, you know, basically no one's really living down there. People work there and then they leave, okay? And so if you're there at night, it's pretty empty and the crime rate might go up a little bit and you might not feel comfortable staying down there and being down there in the evening time because stores are closing earlier. Not all the restaurants are open at night. So you might want to think about staying actually in one of the neighborhoods around Chicago and then taking the, you know, the L in for the day or taking an Uber in to do that, to visit the downtown and the museums. Because honestly, that downtown part at night, I mean, you really got to be aware when you're there, okay? Now, in terms of a tourist trap / scam that's kind of funny that you'll know you really know who your true Chicago friends are is when a local tries to get you to drink a shot of Malort's. I mean, this stuff is like a black licorice liquor. It's horrible. I have no idea why it's popular here in Chicago. It really isn't, because most people don't actually like it, and they'll be on here saying, yeah, that is a total trap. Don't get it. It's gross. But you'll see some of the locals like to trick the tourists into having it when they're here, because they say, oh, well, you're in Chicago. You have to have Malort. It's required. So that's kind of a fun, scammy kind of thing to look out for. A little more serious thing. If you are downtown, you'll probably have guys that'll ask you for $1, okay? Yes, there might be begging for $1. Someone just might come and, hey, can I have $1? You might have $1, you might not, but sometimes they can get a little aggressive with the begging. So I do say be careful, especially if you're downtown at night. Maybe you want to cross to the other side of the street. You don't want to just look with your head down. You want to make sure you're looking about a block up to see, hey, is it going to be okay for me to walk down this way? And the dollar guy does happen, and it's not just at night. It happens all the time, but I have seen it kind of escalate sometimes, so you want to avoid that situation. Now, another kind of similar thing to the guy asking for $1 is if you're at Union Station or anywhere where there's bus tickets, don't be surprised if someone comes up to you and asks, hey, could you help me get a ticket? I'm trying to catch a train to Milwaukee. Look, it's in 20 minutes. They'll show you the board. It's in 20 minutes. I got to get a ticket, kind of like $5, $10 to get my ticket. Or, I got to get my bus out to wherever. You know, they're going to have some sob story to try to get you to give them some money so they can buy a ticket. Look, it's a scam. They are not going to Milwaukee. They're not trying to get out to Tinley Park or wherever. They're just trying to get your money, okay? So if you want to, see if they're really doing it, say, okay, yeah, I'll go buy the ticket with you. And most of the time, no, you don't need to do that. Yeah, then they didn't really need the ticket. Okay, so that's one kind of scam I see a lot. I've had actually happen to me pretty much every time I've gone to Union Station. Now, another thing you have to realize when you come to Chicago, there's a lot of fantastic places to eat. And whether you talk about Greektown or you're looking at, the traditional pizzas and stuff like that. But one of the things is you look at steakhouses. They're really big here in Chicago. And there's kind of a tourist trap, not necessarily tourist trap, but more touristy than locally when it comes to steakhouses. And that would be going to Mike Ditka's Steakhouse, Ditka's Steakhouse, or Michael Jordan's Steakhouse. Look, they have great food in those places, but don't think that the love that the locals have for Ditka and MJ translates into the love of their steakhouses. There's other, their food is fine, but if you want to go to a real Chicago steakhouse, maybe check out Gibson's. Now, if you want true tourist trap, you're looking at Navy Pier down on the lake. Yes, the pier goes out and it does have a Ferris wheel. Beautiful pictures at night, by the way. And it's kind of a nice thing to do, but it is super, super touristy. So do be ready for that in terms of the prices that are there. You need to keep your eye open on your wallet and your purse when you're there because sometimes pickpockets are there. So do have a heads up. But just know, Navy Pier, you're not going to see any locals when you're there. It is geared towards tourists and all the fun stuff that goes along with that. Now, another scam that I've seen a lot of times I've come here to Chicago, especially for tourists that don't really know Chicago's food scene, is whenever you go to a Chicago-style pizzeria, and whether it's a Lou Malnati's or Giordano's or Gino's East or wherever, anytime the waiter or waitress asks you, oh, would you like appetizers before your pizza? They dang well know you do not need any appetizers because Chicago-style pizza is this huge, thick piece of pizza that you're going to have. But it's a huge pizza. And it's just for me, I'm a big guy. I can barely get down 2 pieces, okay? And they're trying to get you to buy a large pizza. And yes, you need a salad and some breadsticks before that. No, you don't. Total scam. Don't fall for it. Just get the pizza and drink before you get your food, okay? It's kind of a silly scam, but it's something you need to think about because you could end up spending another $15, $20 on appetizers that you're never going to actually need because you have all that pizza on the way, okay? Now, another thing I think is important as a tourist when you're going around are the taxis and taxi scams. And really, the only scam I kind of see with taxis here in Chicago is you want to make sure that they take credit card before you get it, because a lot of people don't take cash. We don't carry a lot of cash on us these days. We like to pay with our card, and we assume we're going to pay with our card. And sometimes on the side of taxi, it will say it takes credit card. Before you get in, ask them, hey, do you take credit card and does the credit card machine work? Okay, that's going to be very important because you might get in and oh, we don't have a credit card. Oh, but I'll take you to an ATM to get cash, and you never want to be in that situation. So make sure you do check to make sure there's that. That's why a lot of people tend to use Uber and Lyft when they're here in Chicago instead of the taxis. But it's just something you want to think about. I've had some wonderful taxi rides here, so I'm not trying to be mean to the taxi drivers here in Chicago. But the whole, oh yeah, our machine's not working, cash only, I've seen that in taxis around the world. And I think that's one thing you have to realize is Chicago's a big city, so you have a lot of those same kind of scams and tourist trappy kind of stuff you see all over the world in big cities. You know, if you're going around, be careful on public transportation. If you're getting on and off the L, if you're going to be taking the buses, those are prime pickpocket locations, okay? Be very careful on those spots. Also, you don't want to leave anything of value in your car, whether you're parking on the street or you're parking in some of the alleys or whatever. Leave no reason for people to break your window to take something in your car. Of course, since there's big cities, there's lots of tourists, you'll see the touts on the street, the people playing the card games and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, you will never win that. The person that won before was a total plant, okay? Realize that. They might let a little kid win, but you're not going to win. They are going to win the card game or the shell game or whatever. Those things you do see here. Another thing I think is important, if you see like street performers here, make sure you're watching your wallet when you're watching the street performers, because if you're on Michigan Avenue or you go to Navy Pier, there are pickpockets that are there. They know that's where tourists are, and they're not always paying attention. And I know I've walked up and down Michigan Avenue hundreds and hundreds of times in my life, okay? And I will see ladies that will walk in and have their purse over their shoulder, but their purse is wide open. You're making yourself a very much of a target. And there are people, their whole thing is they're looking to see who could I get, who could I get? Just be aware. Make sure purse is zipped up. Make sure you maybe have your wallet in your front pocket, but just be aware of that, because the pickpockets are actually here, so just be aware of it. And that's why it's one of those things that happens in any big city. And the first thing that shocks you when you do come here to Chicago is the 4-lane switches. You know, when you're on the Dan Ryan or one of the highways and someone just taps that blinker just like, they don't just go 1 lane over, they go 2, 3, 4, all in one go. Look, you've got to be prepared when you're driving in Chicago. This is Fast and the Furious on the Dan Ryan, so be ready for it. It's not just traffic jams and stuff like that. It is people flying around, double wide passes on normal city streets. You got to be ready for it. And oh my goodness, if you hit one of the potholes here, say goodbye to your axle. So that's the first thing that's going to shock you when you are here. And I got to be honest with you, the potholes themselves could be their own shock. So just have a heads up for those when you're driving around. Now, another thing is when you're driving around, you're coming into the city, the next thing that's going to shock you is the price for parking. I mean, you're thinking, well, I could pay my mortgage, I could put my kids through college, or I could pay for parking in Chicago for the week. I mean, it is insanely difficult to find affordable parking. So things like Spot Hero, if you get that app to help you find a decent place to park with a decent price is something. And if you think you're just gonna park on the street or not get in trouble for stuff, forget about it. They're gonna tell you these things are no joke. So just be ready to be shocked for what, $60 to park for what? Crazy things happen when it comes to parking here in Chicago. And if you take someone's parking spot on one of those winter days, yeah, you're gonna have surprise when you come back to find your car or not find your car because you took someone's dugout parking spot. Now, the third thing that's going to shock you when you come here to Chicago are the Chicagoans themselves. Yes, they can be a bit abrasive, but they also can be the most fun, festive, crazy, over-the-top, proudest people of their city. And they're like their own ambassadors for their town. I mean, they want to make sure that you have the right Chicago-style pizza. They want to make sure that you do get to one of those games at Wrigley. And yes, they will remind you that it's Comiskey. It doesn't have a different name. It's not Willis, it's Sears Tower, right? They will do that and they will have a fun time with you. And I've got a shock that they'll get you later, but honestly, the people of Chicago, for a big city, can be super fun and super friendly, but just be ready for a little, sometimes abrasive side of it to get to the fun parts. Because honestly, just ask for advice from the locals, they will give it to you, all right? Now, the next thing gonna shock you, if you've come here in the summertime and you go to a game at Wrigley to see the Cubs play, or just going to Wrigleyville in general is an experience all by itself. Whether you're going to the game and you're going to sit in the bleachers, and remember, there's no assigned seats in the bleachers. You just sit there, drink, enjoy the game, or just drink and have a good time. But there's all kinds of bars around there, so it's a good going out district. You know, you go to the Cubby Bear before the game or after the game. But it is for people that come to the U.S., the people that travel, you want to take in sports. The Cubs have 81 home games a year, and a lot of them are during the day. So you can go and enjoy during the day and do something else at night, but you can have so much fun. And people are surprised that, wait, there's rooftop bars that you can watch the game from outside the stadium? Yes, you can. And I'm paying $12 for like a can of beer? Yes, you are. And you're gonna love it when you do it. Now, the next thing that'll shock when you come here is when you have Chicago-style pizza. Whether you get Pequod's or you get Gino's East, or you go to Uno's, or you go to, there's Lou Malnati's, or you go to Giordano's. Chicago style pizza is super thick, and you'll be surprised because you'll go to order and be like, well, I can put down a medium pizza by myself. That ain't happening with Chicago style pizza. Like, I can put down 2 pieces and I'm gonna be miserable the rest of the night. Not because it's not tasty, because it's so filling. So just be surprised how much you will get filled up when you're there, and don't overdo it because you really can't put that much away. And another little add-on with the Pizza Shock is, with that thick pizza, it takes a long time to make that and bake that. So if you're starving, you're like, oh, we're gonna go in and get pizza right away. It could take 45 minutes to an hour to get that Chicago style pizza baked. So be ready for it. Okay, you could get appetizers, but honestly, you don't need them because you're gonna get so much pizza when you are there. Now, for the art connoisseur, the culture connoisseur, when you come here to Chicago, the next thing that's gonna shock when you're here is the amount of fantastic museums and sites and just altogether cultural goings on that Chicago has. Whether you're gonna be going to the Shedd Aquarium or the Field Museum or go to the Art Institute of Chicago, one of the best art museums in the entire world, there's so much culture to take in that it's not just seeing the beautiful skyline and going to a game, it's seeing the culture here as well. And it's not just, culture for adults, kids can enjoy it as well. There's multiple museums. I mean, if you're going to go to the Field Museum, kids love that, but the Museum of Science and Industry, to see all things going on, it's incredible for culture here. Whether you go see concerts, you want to go see a show, it is really, really fantastic. Now, the 7th thing that's going to shock you when you do come here to Chicago is you can actually put ketchup on hot dogs in Chicago. I know there's this rumor that Chicago hates ketchup on their hot dogs. No, Chicago hates ketchup on Chicago hot dogs because the Chicago dog is a perfect blend with the pickle, the tomato, and the relish and everything there. It's a perfect balance of flavors that if you put ketchup on it, it ruins it. But if you want to have a normal hot dog, it's okay to put ketchup on your hot dog here. Okay, so don't be scared. If you're looking at that dog that's naked and you're like, it needs a little ketchup, it's okay.
No, it's not. You'll still get side eye.
True, you'll get side eye by the crew here as well. Anyway, the next thing I think is important for you to come here is the shock of how horrible Malort is. I mean, Malort is just the most disgusting drink you'll find. And what's great is those friendly people I was talking about before, a little brusqueness, but one of the times you see them being super friendly at a bar, I'm like, oh, let me get you a shot. And if it's Malort, don't do it. Unless you like drinking like liquid black licorice. I mean, you can ask our friends here or anyone around here. It's horrible. Liz, come. So our friend Liz from Means to Travel. What's your opinion of it?
It is so disgusting, but for some reason, a lot of the people in Chicago drink it, and then they'll also want tourists to drink it to see how your face will shrivel up or you'll gag or whatever.
Yeah, so just don't. We're gonna go have some just so you can see how horrible it is. So Liz is gonna help us with a couple of these shocks. So what's the next shock about coming to Chicago?
All right, so I live in Chicago, I grew up in Chicago, and the next shock is that we have so many fantastic neighborhoods that the food diversity here is going to just shock you. So we have Greektown, we have Chinatown, we have the Pilsen neighborhood for good Mexican food. So many great, different, diverse foods you'll find here.
And with that diversity, also the diversity of the neighborhoods, whether you go to Ukrainian Village, I mean, there's so many great places here. So yes, she's feeding me well. I used to be skinny, and now I'm not. Well, actually, that was Jocelyn that helped me with that. But yeah.
I mean, last night we got the Chicago style pizza and we got Thai food,
which was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing. Now, another shock I think you need to realize when you come here. I mean, Chicago's known as the Windy City, right?
Yep.
But it's not known as the Windy City because of the wind. It's known because of
the long-winded politicians.
Yes. But even though those long-winded politicians keep going, you actually do need to think about the wind because you'll be shocked how windy it can be because the wind tunnels downtown.
Yep. No matter what time of year it is, you will experience the wind tunnels on Michigan Avenue, especially the wind coming off of the lake and going down the streets that are in between those skyscrapers downtown. There's wind tunnels all throughout the city of Chicago too, but the most important time to think about it is definitely in the winter time because that wind chill is brutal.
Yeah, super brutal. But one thing that's crazy about the weather is if it warms up, if it's a nice day here in Chicago, what happens?
Everybody's out, including us.
Including us, And you'll see people it's 40 degrees, but it's been 10. So they're out in their shorts and a hoodie,
Yep.
That's Chicago guy, and it's hilarious to see, but you actually do have wonderful weather. The summer here, going to the beaches and stuff, I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Hey there, fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're back in Chicago, and today what I have for you are my 5 favorite things to do when I come here to Chicago. And the first thing I love to do the most when I come here is go to the Art Institute of Chicago, one of the best art galleries in the U.S. When you go in there, yes, you'll see the Picassos, you'll see the Van Goghs, but what you really want to see is American Gothic, the truly American portrait that you need to see when you're there. But honestly, the Art Institute of Chicago has an incredible collection for you to enjoy, so give yourself at least half a day to explore all the galleries that are there and take in all the artwork and all the pieces, because it is fantastic, okay? Second thing I want you to do when you come here is go to the Museum of Science and Industry. Look, if you have any inkling of science or anything kind of fun like that, you will love the Museum of Science and Industry, because when you go there, yes, they have a coal mine you can go down into, how they've redone it, and there's an actual submarine from World War II you can go there. If you want to see what it's like being like in a tornado with the wind, I mean, there's all kinds of cool stuff to do when you're there, but it's really a fantastic science museum, and it's huge. And that's one thing, the museums here in Chicago are huge because they have fantastic, great collections, and so you need some big places to put all those really great things. So that's the second thing. And then the third one, we're going to stick with the museums because it's all kind of near each other, or relatively near each other when you're in Chicago, is the Field Museum. If you go to the Field Museum, it's a natural history museum, so you're going to see a lot of natural history. Yes, some stuffed animals, some bones, some dinosaurs, some cultural artifacts. You're there. The 2 things that I like to see the most is, one, Sue, the T-Rex, which is an incredible piece you've got to go see, because you can literally see her right there, right? So you've got Sue to check out. And then, if you ever saw the movie The Ghost in the Darkness about the 2 man-eating lions, they actually have those 2 lions in the Field Museum. And no, they don't have the long mane like you think of lions. They've lost their hair. They're like me. They've lost their hair, but they're still cool to see. So the Field Museum is a must-see when you're here. Now, the next thing I do whenever I come to Chicago is I gotta grab a Chicago hot dog. And you hear people talk about Chicago people don't like ketchup on their hot dogs. Well, it's more specifically they don't put ketchup on a Chicago dog. Why? Because it's a perfect balance of flavors, because you've got the all beef frank on a poppy seed bun, and they put mustard down on there, then this like really psychedelic green relish, which is really good, but you kind of question the healthiness of it when you see that. White onions on there, you got a pickle spear, you got a couple tomato wedges on there, you got these peppers on top, and then they put some celery salt on there. It's wonderful. You can get it all over town, so it's an easy, cheap bite to eat, which is important because Chicago can be a little expensive, and those museums I'm telling you to go to aren't cheap, but that's something you can do to kind of save a little money and have a little treat when you're here. And then the 5th thing I want you to do when you come here really depends on the season. If you're here in the summer and the spring, take an architectural boat tour on the river, because if you don't know this, Chicago's like the birthplace of the skyscraper. The architectural movement here is incredible, and the architecture here is incredible. So you go on those boat tours, they really give you a good understanding of all that architectural history here in Chicago that you can enjoy. So do that. Or if you're here in the summer and the Cubs are playing, going out to Wrigley and taking in a baseball game. If you don't even like baseball, you can still go and have a good time in Wrigleyville itself, or just go into the game and see one of the oldest stadiums out there in the U.S. to take in America's pastime. And if you're here in the winter, because I got these summer, spring things, I think I also got to tell you, if you're here in the winter during the holidays, from Thanksgiving through Christmas and New Year's, go to the Christkindl Market, the Christmas market they have on Daly Plaza. It's a fun thing to do to get your hot wine, your bratwurst, and the silly souvenirs you can buy that are there, but it's a fun thing to do. And so these are things that I always like to do when I come to Chicago. What do you like to do when you come to Chicago? Because there's a lot more stuff to see and do. If you go out to like Bucktown and other parts of the city, there's a lot of great stuff. But this is my kind of like core stuff here in the center that you can see if you're a tourist staying downtown. And today we're going to talk about the 3 things I always love to get to eat when I come here to Chicago. And number 1 is Chicago style deep dish pizza. Now, the locals will tell you they don't eat that so much. That's more of a tourist thing, but they still eat it occasionally. Don't get me wrong. They'll say tavern style is the way to go. But when you're a tourist, you want to eat the right stuff. You want to eat the tourist stuff. And that is honestly the Chicago deep dish pizza. I mean, it's like this thick. It'll take like 45 minutes to an hour to prepare. So you might order and walk around for a while. But honestly, the thickness, when you get the sausage in there, which you have to realize is kind of like the pizza's flip. So it's like the cheese is on the bottom, and then it's the meat, and then it's the sauce on top. And I'll be honest with you, my Italian friends, when I brought them here to have it, they're like, this isn't pizza, this is a cake. Yes, it is. It's a calorie bomb cake that you're going to love, but it's a thing that you have to have when you're here. That Chicago-style deep dish, you can't go wrong. But again, if you're hanging out with your local friends, the tavern pizza is not too bad either. Now, the second thing you want to grab when you come to Chicago, and this actually, I had this at the Bears game last night, is an Italian beef. If you're not sure what Italian beef is, it's a sandwich. What you're gonna have a big old hoagie roll, and on there it's shaved roast beef. But it's not just shaved roast beef. They cook it and it's au jus forever, the juice you really want to love, and they have that cooking forever. And then you put that on the hoagie roll. Oh my God, you just drool thinking about it. And you have the au jus, and some people pour it. You might want to dip it. Some people like it dry because they're insane. But honestly, you can't beat an Italian beef when you're here. And then the third thing you want to have when you come to Chicago is a Chicago dog. You know that rumor that Chicago people don't put ketchup on their hot dogs? Well, they do on normal hot dogs sometimes, but on a Chicago dog, you never ever put ketchup on there. Do you know why? Because they have a perfect balance of flavors in a Chicago dog. Because you have an all beef frank, and it's on a poppy seed bun, and there's mustard, white onions. There's this super fluorescent green relish that goes on there. Also, there's going to be a pickle spear, some tomatoes and peppers, and then throw some celery salt on top, and it's awesome. Okay, it's that perfect balance is why they don't put the ketchup on there, because it's wonderful.
Now, 5 things you're going to hate, maybe not hate, but just kind of dislike about Chicago. First thing is the weather. Now, I'm here, and it's a great summer's day, so I'm getting lucky. They have great summers here, but in the winter, with the wind, it gets bitterly cold here, and the wind can be very actually dangerous. There's been times I've been here in Chicago, and I'm walking literally 45-degree angle here, trying not to fall over because the wind coming off the lake is so strong. So you got to be careful with that. So that's one thing you're not going to like is the weather. If you're coming here, in the winter time, okay? In the summer, you're going to be fine. It's just a little windy. I mean, they call it the Windy City for a reason. Second thing you're not going to like, if you're using Union Station, the train station, or other places, there's a lot of guys that, hey, can I have $1? Hey, can I have $1? The thing is, they don't just ask you one time, they harass you about it. And that gets really annoying after a while. And so you might be nice the first couple times, but then you get kind of sick of it. So just, when they ask you, say no and just walk away, don't talk to them, okay? So that's the second thing you're going to hate, the can I have $1 guy. Third thing is, now when you're in the U.S., of course, we always drive around everywhere, so you're probably going to come here with a car. Guys, finding parking in Chicago is a pain in the butt. Okay, it's not only hard to find, but it's expensive. So if you're going to be driving here, find a cheap rate place, or maybe your hotel, leave your car there and take the L or walk around. I'll talk about that in things, one of the great things in Chicago is getting around. It's really easy. So find a place to leave your car and just leave it, because parking is really expensive and sometimes hard to find, okay? Number 4, also with the cars, is the traffic. Guys, if you live here in Chicago, you stay outside the loop or downtown, driving in, you might get stuck in traffic for a while. Okay, it can take you up to an hour to get in from the airport sometimes, just because of traffic, okay? So the traffic does suck in Chicago. But if you're a tourist, you're not going to be worried too much about it because you're not going to be driving. Because remember, you're going to take my advice and park your car and just take the L or walk around the town, all right? So, number 5 of the things you're going to hate about Chicago. Not hate, but kind of dislike. Chicago has some amazing museums. The Art Institute, Shedd Aquarium, the Museum of Science and Industry. There's so many. I mean, Chicago's got amazing museums. But the thing is, they're expensive. I mean, every one you're dropping $15, $16 for one person to go in. So you take your family there, it can start adding up, okay? So don't expect cheap visiting things. Okay, so those are the 5 things you're probably not going to like too much about Chicago. The weather, the guys asking you for $1, the begging guys, the parking here, the traffic, and the expensive museums. Okay, but you can deal with some of those. Because with the museums, some of them offer a lot of kind of free days. So before you're coming, check their websites. I'll have some on the Chicago page for the major sites. Check them out and see when they have their free days. Arrange your vacation around that. You can save yourself a lot of money. If you're coming here with a family of 4 or 5, I definitely recommend choosing one of those weekends. Now, enough with the bad, because it's really hard actually to find bad stuff about Chicago, all right? The 5 things you're going to love about Chicago. First off, the architecture. Now, I'm here at Grant Park right now, so you don't get to see too much architecture, but you have the Hancock Building, the Sears Tower, the Tribune Tower, the Wrigley Building. Guys, this is the home of the skyscraper, okay? This is where it really kind of started, got hold, and there's amazing architecture here, not just in the tall buildings and the skyscrapers, but in the normal everyday buildings. And you will see when you walk down Michigan Avenue or Wacker Drive or wherever, you're going to be turned around and you're going to be a tourist going, wow, these are really cool buildings. And it's one of the things you're going to love about Chicago, the architecture. There's even boat tours where you get on a boat and you go around and they just talk about the architecture. All right, it is really cool, and you're gonna love that when you're here. Second thing I love about Chicago, the city is the third largest city in the United States. Remember, it's the second city. It's pretty big, but only third largest population. So you think, oh, big cities, people aren't nice. That is so wrong about Chicago. The people are awesome here. They're so friendly, so helpful. I mean, even the beggar guys that annoy you, they're not that bad, all right? But the people here in Chicago are amazing. That's one of the things you're really going to enjoy here is because you're going to have friendly people in a big city, which gives you kind of this, wow, this is weird. I'm expecting kind of like New York, not very friendly. But here we got Chicago people. They are amazing, all right? And you're going to love that here. 3, the food. Guys, I'm here for Taste of Chicago. They have all kinds of food here. You go to Greektown, you have Chicago-style pizza. It's basically a deep dish pizza with the sauce on the bottom. They kind of reverse it. It is to die for, guys. You have to have Chicago pizza when you're here. But there are so many restaurants you can go to. It is just amazing. You will literally eat yourself fat here in this town. Actually, I could put that in one of the things you'd hate is you're going to gain weight when you come here because the food is amazing. Okay, so definitely check that out. That's number 3. Number 4, guys, they're having a major festival for food, literally 30 meters, 30 yards from where I'm standing, and there's no trash. The city is clean. It's a major metropolitan area, and it's clean. You go to New York, you go to London, you go everywhere, it's dirty and nasty. Chicago is a clean town, and you'll see it. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, you look around like, man, there's no trash. All right, so you definitely love that here. And the 5th thing you're going to love is for a tourist, this is the best thing. Chicago is easy to get around. You got a lake on one side, you got a grid system of streets, there's maps everywhere. The thing is, the L goes everywhere you want to go. The L is the subway. But it's just easy to walk around. You walk down Michigan Avenue, you're seeing, oh, over there a few blocks is the Sears Tower. Oh, over here we got the Tribune. Oh, I mean, guys, the city is super easy to get around. So though it is a super large city, I don't know, 6-7 million people, I can't remember how many. But it doesn't feel like that because you can easily walk. I mean, it's a long walk, but you can easily walk between all the things to see. Okay, you may take a museum, the cab out to the Museum of Science and Industry. But guys, it is so easy to get around Chicago, which is another reason why it makes it such a great place to come see.
And the first thing you need to have, because it's going to take you the longest to order it, is Chicago deep dish pizza. Look, I know you've had deep dish pizza like pan pizza from Pizza Hut or pan pizza from Domino's. Oh, no. This is a totally different level of deep dish pizza here in Chicago. I mean, it is super thick. Like, my Italian friends go, is that a cake? Oh no, dude, that's Chicago deep dish pizza. And the thing is, it is super deep crusted with tons and tons of cheese. Get some sausage in there, some onion, mushroom, oh my God. And then the sauce is on top, the really chunky tomato sauce. Oh my God, it's so good. But I want to tell you, it takes a long time to cook. So don't be surprised if you go to one of these places, they say, oh, put your order in now, then go walk around for half an hour and then come back and then we'll be ready to sit you down, because it does take a while to cook them. But also just know, you're also not going to put away the whole pizza. You'll be lucky if you get 1 or 2 slices down before you're like, oh my God, I'm so full. I mean, that happens to me. And I don't mess around with food, so just have a heads up for it. And the thing is, there's a lot of places that have it. And there's a lot of people that debate who's the best and stuff like that. Pizzeria Uno is fantastic. You can go to their other one, Pizzeria Due, if you want. You can go to Giordano's, you can go to Lou Malnati's, you can go to Gino's East. There's tons and tons of places that have it. But man, just know you are going to be more than full when you come out of there, okay? So have a heads up for that. Now, if you need something that doesn't take quite as long to get, my quick pick-me-up while you're walking around Chicago and taking in the cool sights, it's the Chicago hot dog. And if you want to know what Chicago hot dog is, it's a beef dog. Remember, if the sign says Vienna beef, you'll be okay, all right? Now, it's the Vienna beef dog, right? And so on there, you'll have tomatoes, you'll have pickle or maybe cucumber, you'll have mustard on there, you have slices to tomatoes, and then like little peppers on top. Oh my God, it is so good. And no, it's true, they don't put ketchup on there. I mean, you can ask for it, but just don't, because honestly, the combination of all those flavors together, I'll be honest, for years I was not adventuresome enough to try a Chicago dog. But once I did, I'm like, oh man, that mustard with the peppers, with all the stuff together, really brings it all together, and it is really, really awesome. A third, maybe not so healthy thing that we kind of are going on in our order here is having an Italian beef sandwich. Now, Italian beef, you can go to Portillo's, which is a fast food place here, which is kind of popular, and it's really good. I like going to Portillo's where I live, so I mean, I vouch for Portillo's. And what it is, it's shaved beef in a hoagie roll, and they put peppers on top. Oh man, it's so good. But what you want to do is you want to have them dip it, so it gets dipped into the au jus or the juice or whatever, and comes out. And believe me, this is not a sandwich you eat with your hands. You're going to need a fork and knife to eat this when you get the wet version of it, because it is a complete mess. But it's a completely delicious mess. And speaking of something delicious, the fourth thing you have to eat when you come to Chicago is Garrett's popcorn. Specifically, you want Garrett's Mix. Now, Garrett's is it's a traditional popcorn place here in Chicago, and it's a fancy popcorn place, and it's a very good popcorn place. And the Garrett's Mix is caramel popcorn with cheddar cheese popcorn mixed together. I know it sounds a bit weird the first time you hear it, but when the first time you taste it, you're like, oh, this is so good, and you just chow it down. And what's cool about it, if you're flying out of O'Hare and you're looking for a gift to take home, there's a bunch of Garrett's in the airport at O'Hare, so you can grab some there to take with you, because let's be honest, everybody loves popcorn, but everybody really loves really good popcorn, and Garrett's is definitely that, okay? Now, the fifth thing to eat when you do come to Chicago is more of kind of an idea I want to get across to you, and that is Chicago has a lot of different ethnicities here in the city, and they've brought their food from all over the world, and you can have some really amazing food here. And what's cool is a lot of them will be in certain parts of town where you can go and visit and eat and make merry and have a good time. For example, you can go to Greektown. Every time I come here with Jocelyn, we have to go to Greektown to have Greek food. If you don't want Greek, you can have great Italian food in Little Italy. You miss Poland? Yes, you can have some amazing Polish sausages here. You can have great German food. Heck, they've got Lithuanian food, Ethiopian food. There's so many great ethnic restaurants throughout the city. Mexican food. Oh my God, there's so many great Mexican places here in Chicago too, that you really will have a great experience eating not those first four things I talked about. The thing is though, if you're gonna go to those restaurants, most likely you're gonna have to leave the Loop, the downtown area, to go explore it and find them. But believe me, it's worth the time for your taste buds and tummies to experience that, okay? And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention a special sixth thing, something you should drink when you're here in Chicago. And Chicago is known for its home brewed beer here in Chicago. And yes, there's Goose Island, which is probably the most famous one you'll find around the US, but there's other really good ones too. Half Acre's really good, Two Brothers Brewery's really good, Revolution Brewery. I mean, there's a lot of really great breweries here in town, and sometimes you can take tours, but the thing is you can get the beer all over town at the bars and stuff like that. Whether you're going to Rush Street or you're having a good time at Wrigleyville, you can get some of that great local beer when you are here, and that is something you really will enjoy. So what are some other things you think people should have when they come to Chicago to eat? Because there's a lot more than 5 or 6 things. I just want to give you kind of the traditional things to have, because honestly, there's so many great restaurants here in Chicago. You're going to eat fantastic. Where you're going to have Gibson Steakhouse and go have some insane, amazing steaks, or other places, go into the Walnut Room, the old Marshall Fields building, Macy's there, and have your nice little meal there with the pot pie kind of stuff. There's so much great food and great times to have here in Chicago that please, if you know some good places, put in the comment section below to help other people enjoy this fantastic city one bite at a time.
Now, what are the 10 things you should see if you're in Chicago? Because there's so much to see in Chicago that you can't really know what to choose. So it's your first trip here. I want to go through probably the 10 best things you should do. First up, you want to go to Wrigley Field. Okay? It doesn't matter if you like baseball or don't like baseball. Second oldest stadium in the major leagues, in our first league, I should say, in Europe. And it is a great time to go because the whole area, it's got bars, it's got restaurants, there's a great atmosphere with people. And when you go to the game, the team hasn't won for over 100 years, so you don't go for the winning, you go for the fun. You take your family, you take your friends, you have some beers, and you have a great time. Even without beers, you can have a great time. So that's the first thing you should do when you're in Chicago. Go to a game at Wrigley. Second thing, Michigan Avenue. Guys, it's the main street here in Chicago. You're gonna walk up and down it, and it's got amazing buildings, great stores. You're going to be walking like a real tourist with your head going everywhere because the architecture is just amazing. And the stores there are great for shopping, lots of awesome restaurants, stuff like that. They actually call it the Magnificent Mile because there's so many amazing buildings on there. And that leads us to number 3, and things you should see, the top 10 things you should see in Chicago. And that is the Tribune Tower and the Wrigley Building. 2 of the coolest buildings actually in Chicago. Right off of Wacker Drive, it's by the new Trump building. They are truly amazing. The work that went into those buildings is just truly amazing. You'll sit there and be like, wow, these are really cool, tall buildings. And that's one thing with Chicago. The architecture here is amazing. You're going to love that, okay? So number 4 things you want to see is the Sears Tower. It's now called the Willis Tower, but it says Willis Tower, formerly known as Sears Tower. I think it's the same thing as Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince, or that sign, whatever. Anyway, you go up the Sears Tower, they have this cool sky deck you go up to, and literally it's glass you get to walk on. Okay, so you're kind of standing up in nothing, at the top, one time the tallest building in the entire world. It's definitely a really cool thing to check out, but you have to pay to go up there. So that leads us to the fifth thing I really recommend you do when you come here is go to another one of the really tall skyscrapers here, the John Hancock Center. There you can go up for free and go have a drink and have a view out in the whole city. It's right on the lake, right on the lake. It's from Michigan Avenue. Great views, nice people, cheap, not actually pretty cheap drinks as well. So it's a good time, and you can take your family there. It's not a problem. Okay. Number 6, the things you should see. Let's move into the museum. Chicago has got amazing museums, guys. But if you want to have art, the number 1 is the Art Institute of Chicago. You have Renaissance stuff, you have ancient stuff, you have Japanese stuff, you have American Gothic, the farmer and his daughter, he's got his pitchfork. They have that there, guys. Art Institute of Chicago is one of probably the top 5 art galleries in the United States, and that's here in Chicago. Number 7, I want to put these two together. Back that way, you have the Shed Aquarium and the Field Museum. They're right next to each other, so I'm kind of stuffing some more stuff in. The Field Museum is a natural history museum. It's really well done. The Shed Aquarium is an amazing aquarium, and actually in the entry hallway they have bones of a blue whale. You actually see the kind of real size for it. It is very cool. Okay? Number 8, a little bit farther to the south, you have the Museum of Science and Industry. They have kind of a old coal mine inside of it, and it makes for a good time. See, my son here is having a good time. Okay, but the Museum of Science and Industry, he loves it, little kids love it, alright? And even big kids like you and me love it, and crazy yelling kids like that love it too, okay? Number 9, you have Grant Park, where we are here now, with the Buckingham Fountain and all these things. It's a great place to bring the family. They have lots of festivals here and stuff like that. It's a great time, nice place to relax, and stuff like that. And number 10 of the things that you should do when you come to Chicago is eat, okay? The food here is amazing, whether it's Chicago-style pizza, which is deep dish pizza. They kind of switched around, so the sauce is on the top and the meat is on the bottom. Guys, it's to die for. I could literally put on 10 pounds or 5 kilos in one day because I like it that much. But the food and the festivals here in Chicago are great. We're here at Taste of Chicago right now, seeing all the kinds of food that goes on here. It's awesome. Greektown's got great food. Anywhere you go in the city, you're going to eat well, which might put a little weight on you. But hey, it's worth it because the food is so great. And the festivals, I'll put the food and festivals together. They have so many in town, it's impossible to count them all. But they go throughout the year, whether it's Christmas market in Daily Plaza or Taste of Chicago right here. It's a great time. So have fun in Chicago. Come